What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the Virzi Effect podcast show. My name is Paul Virzi, and you guys are listening to episode 612. This is the first episode I've done in my home studio since I had the New York studio because of my very special guest. Guys, what can I say? It is Knicks season. It is playoff time. The New York Knicks are not only relevant, but they are in this thing, and I had to have a guest who understands that, who feels what we feel, who is, there's probably 5 guests that I could have that are at where we need to be at for what's going on, and this is one of them. Jerry Ferrara is back on the Virzi Effect. Jerry, what is going on, bud?
Man, I cannot wait. First of all, it's good to be back. I feel like the first time I did the pod, which was in studio, you were like buying Jordans cash on the side. You were like meeting the dude in an alley for some Jordans, for some cash. You were like at the ATM taking cash out. You were doing a deal for some sneakers.
Yeah, I remember that. Yes, I think it was the ones, the foul lines, the Jordan ones where he dunked for the foul, the threes.
Yes. So to think where and I think our conversation about the Knicks was so sad back then. So to look where we were then to where we are now is pretty crazy. But I'm a neurotic Knicks fan. So like, to me, like Kobe said, job's not finished. Like, why are we happy? Job's not finished.
That's the thing. And, as much as I love the enthusiasm of the Knicks fan, which it's at the all-time high right now, I don't like the chanting of "we want Boston" after game 1 win. We get a little crazy with that,
We're still shouting "fuck Trae Young" after the game. It's like it's almost like she broke up with you 5 years ago, man. She ain't coming. Like, Trae Young's not walking through that door. That is over. But yeah, look, for all the heat that Knicks fans got for partying after those first of all, spring in New York, Virzi, as you know, once the weather starts touching 63 degrees, people lose their fucking minds after being out over. So you're at the Garden, you're probably drinking, Knicks win, you come outside, it's 67 degrees. Of course we're going to party. That's just New York. That wasn't obnoxious fans as much as like, yeah, you're right. How many times could you say, Jalen Brunson? They just started saying shit.
Yeah. No, man. It does feel good though, man. It feels good to feel. It does feel good to feel like, I guess the last team that was like this was probably the Sprewell 99 team, right? That team that got to even though we lost in the finals, like this is like, there's like a relevance of like, oh, if you play the Knicks, I don't care who you are, whether it be Denver, whether it be Boston, whoever it is, you're in for a fight. And I think that's Josh Hart. I think that's, Isaiah Hartenstein. I mean, all of these guys that like are kind of role players, they want the moment. They have the heart for the moment. And we haven't had that. That's why we're so nuts.
Yeah, 99 is a good example because also, we were without technically our best player, even though he was aging. Patrick Ewing was out, right? So, and 99 is a little misleading because we were the 8th seed, but you remember it was like the strike shortened season.
Yep.
So, they had a rough first half. You never know what that team would have been in the second half. They probably would have finished 4 or 5 seed. I like to compare them a little more to like the 94 Knicks in a sense where 94 Knicks were expected to win a little bit more. But like you said, you're going to have to kill this team to beat them. You can beat them. You can beat these Knicks.
Yeah.
You got to kill them. And you're right with those guys. But more importantly, I think that this is like a team to me, Tom Thibodeau, if he could say, I'm going to build a team in my exact image that I want. This is them.
This is.
Our star player, they're D'ing him up. Philly has played the best defense on Brunson that any team's played on him all year. He's essentially been neutralized other than bouncing in that 3. And other guys are stepping up. It's because we haven't ducked anybody. This team's been playing playoff games since Julius Randle went down. Every game's been a playoff game since then.
Yeah, it's funny though how it's funny and sad that the comparisons we're giving are 99 and 94. We're talking literally 25 years ago, but I think that the OG Anunoby trade, to me, when I look back at that, it hurt to give up RJ. It hurt to give up, especially Quickly. Like Quickly was my son's like favorite, and Quickly was instant offense and stuff. But when you look at what Anunoby brings defensively, the little annoying things that he does, he also can shoot. Like that's the thing. Like he's got that spot up, 3 from the side. I think that every Miles McBride. I mean, dude, we have a squad that like I think whoever you plug in there. And it goes to your point. it's a Tom Thibodeau. It's a Tom Thibodeau type of team where it's like our guys are not just going to score; they're going to be gritty defenders, and that's why I think we're in every single game we play.
Yeah, look, I missed. I stayed on with RJ, and I still think RJ is a very good player and going to be a good player. Same thing with Quickly. I was definitely a little thrown at first with that trade. I know what Anunoby's capable of, even though he's had an injury history. But to me, and you tell me if I'm wrong, and maybe not to this level, but you have to imagine that Leon Rose, Tom Thibodeau, Wes, whoever knew what they had with Deuce McBride to be that confident to trade Quickly. Because, and now
Yes.
maybe they didn't see this. The guy has been like after Brunson, he's my favorite. I mean, I love them all, but my gosh, what a
That's a great
story!
point. That's a great
You
point.
have to think like, yeah, maybe they didn't think he'd turn into a 46% foul 3-point shooter since January 1st, but they must have known and been confident enough to say, we could replace some of the Quickly minutes off the bench with Miles McBride. He's ready. And dude, I mean, I almost, not that I feel bad for him. He's making millions of dollars playing basketball. Someone got to give that dude a deal. Like he needs an endorsement deal because he's severely underpaid. They gave him that extension for whatever it is, like $4 million a year, which is still a lot of money.
Yeah.
If he waited, he could have gotten a bigger bag. So we need someone in New York with an endorsement deal. Throw the kid $5 million just as a thank you for all Knicks fans.
Now, let me ask you this question because I watch the game and I watch the game with my son all the time, and we're so in it, man. We're so in it. But I'm going to critique, even though I think he's great. I'm going to critique Thibodeau, and you tell me if you agree or not. The only knock I have on the coach, because I really do think he's a great coach, and I think his defensive mindedness is the reason why we're in every game. Again, look what we did against Denver. Look what we do against all these good teams.
Yeah.
But he doesn't, when he makes his mind up to leave somebody out, they're out. Like, I'll give you a perfect example. Evan Fournier last year, I thought, especially in the Miami series, when they had they had that Strauss kid hitting threes. They had all those dudes hitting threes. And I'm going, Evan Fournier is a really good 3-point shooter.
That's all he does, is shoot threes.
And I'm going, if we're down 9 and it looks like, and there's like 4 minutes left in the game or 3 minutes left in the game, Thibodeau, I feel like, should give guys like that. Like, I don't even know. I thought Precious should have gone in a little bit already in this series. Now, listen, granted, we're 2-0, but I think that he should. The only knock is when he makes his mind up of that guy's not playing, he like doesn't even give any minutes to them. That's the only knock that I'll say, because I do think that he's got some, like, Precious has shown me that he's a gamer.
Yeah, So to your point, yeah, they're definitely, and especially throughout the first half of the season, I was always curious, especially offensively, Tibbs kind of making the adjustments when needed and calling plays that aren't isolation. I think since Randle's been down, Tibbs has been unbelievable making adjustments. I'm with you. It is a little strange. Precious hasn't played because you would think that Josh Hart, how long has Josh Hart sat in 2 games? 3 minutes. You would think. Because you really wouldn't give him. Precious played a lot of center when Robinson was out. You don't need him to do that. And I don't think Precious no one could really match up with Embiid. I just think Precious is too slight a build. So you would really put him in with some of the Hart minutes to give Hart a blow. And I just think Tibbs is thinking I think Josh Hart joked around about sticking up for Tibbs for Coach of the Year, and Tibbs said, "Oh, Josh wants more minutes," and then he played him the whole game in game 2. So yeah, but even if you look back, I'm trying to forget which team it was that was really selling out hard on like the pick and roll with Brunson, and Tibbs made that beautiful adjustment where he started bringing Hart into the pick and roll, and then Hart was sliding, basically turned into like Draymond Green. The double team came out to Brunson. He would dump it to Hart, and then Hart had a 4-on-3 in the half court. So I think Tibbs has been great. I would like to see Precious give Hart a blow, but did Josh Hart look like he needed a breather in game 2? Because he did not to me.
No, Josh Hart. The thing is, Josh Hart is he's got that motor, man. He's got that motor. He's so amazing. Like the way he dives for balls, the way he gets rebounds. Like, he's just filled with life that you need.
Yeah.
He's such a gamer. And I'll be honest with you, Josh Hart's hitting open threes, man. He's hitting them.
Yeah, and that is what's gotten us through the first 2 games, is when I joked around and said Tibbs has made this team in a mirror image of what he would want. Yeah. It's because we have a full, all the rotations shrink in the playoffs. Precious and Burks are the odd men out, right? For whatever reason, Burks hasn't played well. You know, this team, like I said, they've been playing playoff games since Randle went down. You know, they trust each other completely. I pointed out on Twitter, and like all of Philadelphia hates me right now, and that's great.
That's what I wanted to find out. Tell me what's going on with this Twitter thing now.
Well, look, I should probably stop, because what are you doing? Essentially, I'm like shouting out into an ocean. You are never going to have healthy conversations on Twitter, whether it's people just want to troll, or people are unreasonable, or people just don't understand context of what you're trying to say.
Right.
Look, to me, specifically with game 2, I get that Brunson held the jersey of Maxey for a half a second. Sure. Hart definitely bumped Maxey for sure. And I know now all Philly fans are vindicated because of the 2-minute report that came out. But Maxey took a running start and pushed off a Hart, and the game was called that way the entire time. I put up several videos of Batum and Oubre on the inbound, 90 feet, manhandling Brunson, and they're letting it go. So to me, did the refs maybe miss a foul there? Sure. Was it consistent with how they called the entire game? Yes. And that's all you could ask for. You were never going to sell me on the Nick Nurse timeout shit.
No.
I don't care what you say. You could slow-mo and go frame by frame like the Zapruder film.
He did a pump fake, like you said. He did a pump.
He went like, then he did the face that I do when my wife catches me in the cookie jar. Like, oh no, I didn't call it. So come on. Philly had 4 different ways to win game 2. And also box out. Tyrese Maxey hit the floor. DiVincenzo got 2 open looks because Maxey never got up off the floor. Kyle Lowry flopped when his own teammate pushed him.
And to add to what you're saying, you know, they could do the 2-minute report all we want. We've lost games that way too. Here's the other thing. They showed it from another angle on TNT with Chuck and Kenny. Lowry grabbed DiVincenzo's shoulder and arm. You know the one I'm talking about,
yeah,
right?
Of course, that should have been a foul.
And they did a challenge, and it still was nothing. And then they showed it from the other angle. He fouled him twice on that play. So listen, this is all stuff that people say during playoffs, during big moments of games. They called it the same way the whole game. Okay, like you said, I look at it like this. You're going to have that happen for you in a series, and you're going to have that happen against you in a series. You know, Nick Nurse, the timeout, absolutely not. He pump faked it. I don't want to hear that. You're 100% right with that.
Come on.
And listen, Twitter, man, you're not going to win Twitter. You're not going to win. You could be talking about food and they'll hate. If you're talking about a Philly sports team.
Oh, man. And look, I will say, I give the Philly fans credit. They are mean as shit, right? They're up there with New Yorkers. But if any of you Philly fans are listening to this pod right now, you don't bother me when you start calling me Proctor or Turtle, or I'm happy your character on Power died. Like that to me is hysterical. Cause like, where are you taking this conversation? Like, oh, I always liked the drama character better. I'm like, you know what? Me too. I did too. So it just shows me that you guys are hurting. I get it. I hurt too.
Dude, and how funny are fucking sports fans that they gotta be happy that a character that's not real in reality died just because you played him. That is so great, man. That is
and then when you do actually try to engage, which I've done in the last 48 hours, like an idiot.
Yeah, you can't.
Eventually you get to a point where it's like, oh, I just wanted to see what I could get to make you respond. And I get like, they turn out to be reasonable sports fans, but man, they're mean. And I love it. I want to go to game 3 in Philly so bad, because I actually think my life would be in jeopardy.
I see, I would want no part, I would be so afraid of that. Just not like physically afraid.
No, like emotionally.
But I wouldn't enjoy that, because I take things I'm a little petty, so I take things personal.
Same.
People are saying shit about me and I can't enjoy the game. Now, what do you think? Do you think that we get one in Philly?
Shit, I don't know. Look, and again, the people are also like tweeting like, Adam Silver really wants the Knicks in the fight. Adam Silver doesn't give a shit. Like, would he rather like a Knicks Lakers final? Sure, everybody makes more money.
Yeah.
Stop with the Adam Silver's the Wizard of Oz pulling the strings. Look, I think that Philly's going to be really aggressive, especially in game 3. If there is any political element of like refs, maybe I would predict a big free throw discrepancy in game 3, Philly. And then I bet you Philly, I will just bet you Philly has more free throws. Not trying to play into the conspiracy shit. I'm just going to bet MGM. I would put my money on Philly winning the free throw battle in game 3. I think game 4 is really the one to get, but that's the thing with this team. I don't think they look at it like, oh, we held court at home. Let's try to get one in Philly. They're going to come out and try and win the game. And I want nothing more than Brunson just to give us one of those classic Brunson 40-pointers, and we win by 10, so no one could say, oh, and then just be done with these guys. I want to be done.
I think Brunson's going to have one of those games here soon. I think it probably might come on the road too, but I predicted the Knicks in 6. But I will tell you this: if we come back home 3-1, it could be a wrap for them. It could be. I'm hoping we steal one there, because I'll be honest with you. I don't think, and this is not, I know Philly fans are listening, and I know sports. By the way,
yeah, you're big in Philly, Paul. People like your shit in Philly, so they're listening.
Philadelphia's been good to me when I perform there, so this is no offense here. I just think we're a better team. I do. And here's why I think we're a better team, because oh shit, I hit mute. Shit, I hit mute for a second. Andrew, was that muted for a long time or no? Actually, you were talking, so I don't think.
No, I heard you.
Okay, you did, right?
I heard you clear. Yeah, I don't.
Okay, yeah. All right, so we should be good. I think we're a better team because I noticed when Embiid limping, when you see the teammates, like when he's not okay, they turn into a different team. So I think even if Embiid gets his 30 and does whatever, I think with the heart that we have, no pun intended, I just feel like we're deeper. And, I think a guy like McBride coming off the bench, he could make up for things. We have this thing about us that's next man up that, where they have Buddy Hield, right? He hasn't done anything. Right.
Yeah. And you got to think that that's a big part of the Thibodeau philosophy. They haven't really doubled Embiid. Like they've sent help if he puts his back to the basket. It's not like Brunson where the minute he gets over half court, they're sending help. Right.
Yeah.
I don't know. It seems to me like some of the philosophy is like Embiid's going to get 30 and 10, even on one leg. Maxi's going to be somewhere between 25 and 35, depending on how hot he is. Don't let fucking Buddy Hield get going. Don't let Nick Batum hit 6 threes like he did against Miami. Nick Batum won them that game against Miami in the play-in. He hit 6 threes, I say this out of all due respect. The player I am most excited to retire and for their career to be over, I never want to see Kyle Lowry again.
Oh,
I say that with all due respect. He's the biggest pain in the ass. He plays so hard. He has so many tricks. He turns it on in the playoffs. He's always killed the Knicks. I say this out of all respect. I want Kyle Lowry on my team. He's a nightmare to play against. I want that dude to retire just so I don't have to see him. We saw him last year at Miami. We're seeing him this year again. That dude's a nightmare in the playoffs.
He's always a thorn in the side. And listen, when I say like without Embiid, I know Maxi's good. I know these guys are can step up. I'm just saying with our Knick team, if you just let him do what he does and our guys do the rest, what they can do with the rest of the Sixers, I feel like we're a better team, or at least I don't know if I want to say a better team. I feel like there's something with this Knicks team that, like you said it earlier, you have to kill us. So like we have this thing where it's like we just keep coming. Josh Hart just keeps coming. Isaiah Hartenstein, who would have thought this guy's going to have to get a bag soon.
Oh, he's going to be he already is rich. He's going to be a very, very rich man after this playoff run.
And another guy we have that we never talked about, by the way, all the Virzi Effect listeners who don't like sports, I'm sorry. I know you all left. Listen, it's the Knicks. I have to do this.
We'll talk some non-sports stuff at the end. Stick around. We'll tell some stories.
I had to have Jerry on this week. This is too important in our lives. This is memories forever. Only Knicks fans understand it. But how about Mitchell Robinson, okay, who comes in the game. He did not play a lot towards the end of the year. He didn't do much when he did come back. And then in game one, he's diving on the floor. He's getting offensive rebounds like a madman. Like, our bench is so deep. So that's kind of what I'm saying. I'm not trying to disrespect the 76ers. I'm just saying our next man up is really good. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, if you look at game one, it was the Mitchell Robinson game. And let's not forget, Miles McBride, what was he, 6 for 7 from 3? Came in fire, and Bogdanovich was good. Game two, didn't see a whole lot of Mitch in the second half. It was the Hartenstein, Josh Hart game, right? Yep. You would like it to be Jalen Brunson's turn in game three. But yeah, I just think that execution-wise with that game too, I think because the Knicks only really play close games. They don't typically, we had that run early when we were fully healthy with OG and Randle where we blew some teams out. The Knicks don't blow teams out. The Knicks don't really ever go wire to wire up 15 points. At some point, it becomes a shit show of a dogfight.
Yeah.
And I think they're just used to those waters. I think that deep water doesn't scare them at all. They executed with less than a minute left significantly better than Philly did. When Philly inbounded that ball on the play, it was so panicked and like, I was getting anxiety watching them, and I was rooting for them to turn the ball over.
Yeah.
So, it'll be interesting, man. Look, Philly, it's gonna be hostile, but for everyone who's not sports fans listening to this episode of the Virzi Effect, just know this is years of emotional trauma. It's an abusive relationship at this point till now, right? It's been an abusive relationship with the Knicks.
So I want to bring something up to you because it's going to happen with you before I talk about the Randle thing. So remind me of the Randle thing, but this is what I wanted to say. So my son Lucas is so invested. Now, my dream when I had a son was for them to, and I'm doing a joke about this in the new special that's already not out yet, but the new special that's already shot, about how your kids need to take if your kids don't take the sports teams that you like, you fucked up as a parent. It's a joke, but my son, I wanted him to love all the teams, but I didn't realize this Knicks thing would hit him so hard, Jerry, to the point where like my wife is like, she called me into the bedroom and said, like, we have to talk about this, dude. When they won the other night, first of all, when they lost game 6 to Miami last year, he went in his bedroom and he's like his mother. So like they're more introvert, like they take it and then go alone, right, and they suffer alone and they cry alone. And then me and my daughter are more the same where it's like we express it.
Right.
So last year when we lost game 6 to Miami, Lucas goes in his room and he just goes, I need 5 minutes. And I went, and he was like, his eyes were watery. He was upset. So the other night we're here and my wife's like, he's got to chill because he'll just go like when he's a Wildcat, he's a Kentucky Wildcats. And when they lost, you would have thought that our dog got hit by a truck in front of us. That's how he acted. So last 2 nights ago, whatever, we win. Embiid misses. Jerry, he runs out of our front door, starts screaming. He starts doing layups. Like, not only did he get it from me, but now he has it so much and he wants it so bad, which I love, but he is a true diehard. When they say diehard, I realize he gives a fuck more than I do, and I care so much. So I hope it's a good thing.
I think, look, you're ahead of me on the parent curve. I have 2 boys who are 5 and 3. And my wife likes sports. She grew up in Cleveland, and that's where we're kind of at now. So I'm faced with like, am I going to make my kids be like Knicks and Browns fans, the 2 most tortured franchises in the world? I might as well just set aside $40K for therapy now. Like, I'll just put that away. Instead of the college fund, here's your therapist. Pick whatever therapist you want because your daddy messed you up from making you like these sports teams. But you're giving me flashbacks, Paul, because, I'm such a maniac. And I'm on text change with this. I've said this to people on text.
Yeah.
30 years ago. We're at 30 years since 1994.
That's crazy.
That's why your son's giving me flashback. And how old are you? He's 15?
14.
I was 14 in 1994. So I'm 30 years older than your son, right?
Wow, yeah.
Another good sign in a way. 1994, the Rangers, the New York Rangers. We're not going to talk hockey because then we'll really lose everybody. The Rangers were the 1 seed and won the Stanley Cup. Rangers haven't been the 1 seed since then till this year. That's one. The Knicks in 94 were the 2 seed when they lost in the finals to the Rockets. Haven't been the 2 seed since. I think they were the 3 seed when they lost to the Pacers. Either way, they're the 2 seed again.
Yeah, wow.
What happened during game 2 in 1994 finals? The news busted in with OJ and the White Bronco. OJ died last week.
Oh my God.
Some weird shit going on. I'm just
Oh,
saying, if you believe in
oh,
signs, the matrix is a little broken and some
oh,
shit's happening
oh my God, dude.
30
Now you
years
got me.
later.
Because I'm one of those who I'm like, well, you can't really go by that. Now I'm like, well, shit, dude. When it comes to the Knicks, I start believing. I'm like, no, we're gonna go to the finals. Let me ask you about this. Let me ask you about this. Let me ask you about this Randall thing. Now, I heard some people going, the Knicks are better without Randall. I don't know if you could say that. I don't think that you could say that. But I will say this: we didn't. I don't even know if I can say this. Did we not miss a beat without him? Like, what do you think of the? Do you think we're the same? Do you think we're stronger? Do you think it doesn't matter? What do you think about the Randall thing?
I think I think we miss him, especially in this series, because for one very important reason. Then your defensive philosophy for Philly becomes, we're gonna send these doubles at Brunson. We're gonna put Batum on him and Oubre and all that shit. Who's on Randall?
Right.
Tobias Harris?
Yeah.
Randall would eat Tobias Harris alive. Now, does Randall struggle sometimes in the playoffs and mentally does he lose it? Sure, but I just think it changes the whole dynamic of the game. I don't think Brunson's getting all these double teams or even close. And Randall really figured it out before the injury. His shots were down, his assists were up, his
Yes.
efficiency was up. I think he figured out, hey, I don't need to shoot 23 times. I don't need to have the ball every single time. I'm not the main creator anymore. It's me and Brunson there's two creators on this team. So I miss them. But I think this team has come together in such a way, like I said, it's made them essentially play playoff games since he's been out. And the real question is, do we have enough? Hart's playing 48 minutes in game 2. Is that sustainable? We're going to find out, because Tibbs is probably going to do it again. And that's what I think you're missing. I mean, he was going to be all NBA for a third time in 4 years. That matters.
I agree with you. You know, I disagree with the notion that, like, look, we're winning without him still. Look at our, it's like, no, I think he's such a threat. Granted, he turns the ball over when he dribbles too much, and
yes,
he has been a little bit of a head case in the playoffs. But to have an all-star in your lineup and a star and a guy that can have a night where he puts up 35 like that, I think that we're a better team. I'll go as far as to say this. I believe in my heart that if Julius Randle was 100% healthy and we had him, I think the Knicks go to the finals and beat the Celtics. I do.
I'm with you, especially since the All-Star break, they've toned down some of the rules. Scoring is down. You could now drop the shoulder a little bit, and it's not quickly. Basically, the game is more physical.
Yeah.
And before the playoffs, the game has become more physical, and the refs are letting more shit go. Then the playoffs come around, it's even more physical than that. He has to be one of the best physical players in the league. Like, you want that. If I don't know, I just think if nothing else, he stopped shooting threes, which is really smart. Like, he was just taking the really open ones. You weren't seeing those 8-3 attempt where he went 1 for 8 from 3. He just really had it all together. That injury sucks. And it's hard for me to believe that we're better without him. I don't think we are, but everyone's just gone to a whole other level. Can we do that for the rest of this series and beyond? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Dante stepped up so much when he went out. And Dante, I mean, if you look at Dante's numbers from the game, from the day Randall was out until, I mean, he put up, I mean, I was at the game. Me and my son, we were at the game where he hit 11 threes.
It's nuts. And I said this on Twitter, which Knick fans enjoyed. And even my guy, Fred Katz, who was the beat writer for the Knicks, who in my opinion does some of the best Knicks coverage, him and Ian Begley are fantastic. He texted me, this is such a good point that I wish a beat writer said this. How many players in the league during that melee scramble at the end of game 2, Knicks get the ball, kick it to him, misses the 3. Hartenstein gets the rebound, kicks it right back to him. That motherfucker had 1 foot set already. There was zero doubt he was taking that second shot. Does everyone do that? Oh, no. Yeah, shooters shoot, right? So with 10 seconds left in the playoff game, who just missed the 3, everybody hoists it up. No coach calls timeout.
Yeah.
Nothing. You don't give it to your star player. You don't wait for Brunson to come around and give him because you have and hold for a last possession. They could have held for a last possession.
Yep. And I'll add to that. Not only is that a great point, and it is, and I don't know if it was Barkley, somebody mentioned like to have the balls to do that, but I'll take it a step further that I heard somebody say, and I go, oh my God, that's right too. How about Coach Jay Wright at Villanova? Because to have that, to have that confidence. And if you look at Brunson, if you look at Hart, if you look at Dante, these three guys really do seem fearless. They seem like they're just going to play ball, and whatever happens, happens. I do think it's amazing that three guys that won 2 national championships are on our team. But you're right. And to be ready, too. Like Hartenstein gets the rebound. And how about, and again, another guy that I think his basketball IQ is through the roof is OG. Didn't even hesitate. It went to OG.
Perfect
OG
pass.
got it. Perfect timing, perfect pass. He knew where to go. Yeah, dude, I'm really, look, are we set up to get our hearts broken again?
Yes.
Probably. People
Yes.
look at us like we're nuts, and we probably are. But I will say this, going to the Eastern Conference Finals, if we do, knock on wood, to do that without one of our stars and to have the season that we had, and Leon Rose. I'm waiting for a Leon Rose chant at the Garden because that's what they need to fucking do. And I'm waiting for him because he's got something. Something's coming this off. Something is coming this off season for sure.
I've been sticking up for that dude since the beginning. He was handed a shit sandwich. Come on, I'd love to see every disgruntled Knicks fan who like Leon Rose sucks. Yeah, go fix the Knicks. Go try 5 years ago to come in with that organization and fix Knicks. He's pulled all the right things, and the beauty of it is, Paul, we have all our draft picks, and we still have young players. We didn't sell like if we do get Donovan Mitchell, I don't know what your take is. Like I go back and forth through Mitchell and Brunson. It makes sense at this point. Who knows? 9 out of 10 times the Knicks at the trade deadline would have went all in for a star player like a Zach LaVine. No disrespect to Zach LaVine or someone like that who has a name, who scores, but is he a winning player? And we didn't do that. We went and we got ourselves a winning player with OG and Bogdanovich, and we made smaller moves that were additive. And yeah, now we're poised. We have, the cap's going to be an issue, but we have picks and there's shit we could do.
Yeah,
we're set up for the future.
We have bargaining chips for sure.
And great contracts. Everyone's under a great contract. Everyone.
I don't know if I like, I mean, maybe right now I got to think about, I don't know if I want the Donovan Mitchell thing. And I know the kid's from Elmsford. I know he's from Westchester County, pretty much like I am. And I'd love to, but at the same time, it's like, you got Deuce and you got Brunson, and both are getting this amazing experience in a place. Now Deuce is getting playoff experience, and he's shown that he can rise to the occasion. To have another guard, I mean, I'm thinking maybe we need another shooter, maybe, but I mean, then you got Dante. So it's like
our off-season addition could very well just be Julius Randle. A healthy Julius, or so technically we could just be adding 23 and 10 automatic. And if you could stay efficient, that could be our big off-season acquisition. And I'm fine with that. And we fuck around in the draft. They've hit on most of their draft. They hit on just about all their draft picks since the Kevin Knox pick.
Yeah, no. And it's so nice that like for once you have a Knicks team that has draft picks. Remember how many years we went when it was just like we had nobody? Nothing.
We drafted Porzingis, really. That was it. And Frank Ntilikina, 2 picks in like 5 years. So it's a great spot to be. But yeah, man, I do not want the music to stop. I want this shit to keep going. Before we get out of here, I'm going to have you do your, we'll talk about predictions and what you think, but let's talk about you for a while. You're on the Virzi Effect. You haven't been on here for a while. I know you got 2 boys that are coming up. I see the boys playing golf. My son is on the varsity golf team too. Basketball and golf is his life. Oh, so how do I do that, Paul? Could you tell me how to do that? Cause I'm trying. I don't want to jam them on it and be like, you have to, but what's the secret to just pique the interest? Right now they're interested in golf for sure. Yeah. The interest, the secret to do it is to not throw it down their throat, but I would say, just go say, hey guys, guess what? We're going golfing today. And you don't mention that you want them to do it. You just go and do it. And you go and you do it and you have a good time and you encourage them when they hit bad, shitty shots. And you go, no, see, do this. And you don't, because then the more you're like, oh, wasn't that fun? And then you leave and don't talk about it, the more they'll be like, let's do that again. Yeah. It took a little bit for my son to play golf because my son's basketball is through the roof. He's freshman varsity, incredible. Dude, he's literally has the best shot. Dude, it's amazing. I'll send you some shit. Send me some footage. I'll break it down like game 2 footage. Yeah. But his buddy, his best friend, who is also on the basketball team,
is the best golfer in our school, and he was in varsity in 7th grade. So
Damn.
he's helping Lucas, and like Lucas is starting to get it. And out
Is
of
he
the
beating you yet? Is he gonna beat? When does he start beating you? Soon?
He's only beaten me on 9 holes once. I think he's in about a year and a half, I'll never beat him again.
Right.
Like I got about a year and a half. He drills the ball. He doesn't even try. Like,
yeah.
Like he's the type of guy that, like, he's so athletic. My son, he's the type of kid that he'll take a 7-iron and hit it like 175.
Jeez.
And just not even, like, for him, he's like, Dad, I told you it's too much club. And I'm like, I didn't know. I
You're going to beat him. You're going to have to wait till you're at the senior tees to have a chance against him again.
But dude, it is, so are you working on any projects, or what are you up to?
So yeah, up until, you know, the writer's strike that we had last year, I was in a writer's room for Netflix with Courtney Kemp, who was the writer, creator, showrunner of the Power universe, right?
Okay.
The Kempire. You know, she called me one day and she's like, look, I'm working on this new show over at Netflix, which is where she's at now. And, you know, I wrote, you know, 2 episodes for Entourage. I've always been into writing and producing, and, you know, acting's great, but acting is, you know, so out of your control, really.
Yeah.
And then she asked me if I wanted to write on this show, and she explained to me what it was. And, you know, at first it was like, do I really want to commit to that? Cause it's a whole, you know, you're in a writer's room every day. It's different in acting where, like, you work 3 days, you're off 3 days. And I did. And I really, really loved it. And then we did that up until the strike. And then now that the strike has ended, now we're starting to like gear back up. So writing is definitely something. Also, now that I have kids, writing to me is something that, you know, I could do from home and be around my kids more. It's not like, hey, I'm going to go do this indie in, you know, Romania for 6 weeks and the kids can't come and I'll be back. That stuff's great. I still want to do that stuff, but I'm a little old now. Like, I just look at it so much in a different way. Obviously I got to feed my family and pay my bills and continue to earn. And I've been very lucky in that respect. But if you're going to bring me away from my kids, it's really got to be something amazing that moves the ball forward. So, you know, kind of bide my time with that. And
that's great, man.
Yeah, it's good. The writer's room was a whole experience. I've learned so much inside of a year. And I think the ultimate goal is for me to get my own show on the air that I'm show running and writing and producing and hiring my friends and people that I know will kill it, that don't get enough attention for it. And that's the goal.
Yeah, man, it is a different animal. I know for me as a comedian, it's very hard to be in a writer's room. I felt very little bit of it when my buddy had a show that was it was a sports internet show, and I would go in part-time in the writer's room to help and contribute. And I did feel like a caged tiger because I'm a stand-up, you know?
Right.
So for me, it's like, I got to be able to get in my car, go down to Manhattan, do my sets, get in my car, come home, write my jokes. In stand-up, it's like, I have control of everything.
Yeah.
And then when you take a comedian who is in control of it, it's me up there. I'm gonna sink or swim. It's my jokes that I'm writing. And now all of a sudden you're going, hey, get in there. Now I got to be collaborative with people. And then I got to be patient with people. And then I got to sit in the same room for hours. So it is definitely a test of patience and stuff. And like, as an actor like yourself, you know, you're used to showing up to set and doing your lines and doing the scene. And now you're sitting in there. It's probably a different thing. But the fact that you love it is awesome.
Well, look, there was at one point a certain job on some New York sports station that I was up for. I won't even say up for, more than that, but whatever. And someone within that organization asked me, like, well, you know, this is radio and, you know, it's 4 hours a day, 5 days a week. Like, can you do that? Like, it's discipline. It's a grind. I'm like, fair. I hear that. Do you know what kind of a grind acting is? Try doing the same scene for 13 hours, bro. Tell me that that's not a grind where you're going to lose your mind, where you're saying the same 11 sentences for 14 hours. So, you know, I think it's all a grind. I think film and TV is in a really weird spot. You tell me. I know you deal with it too, because you're in movies and you're all like, this is the first time in my career, not that I've always known where it's going and all that, but I have no idea what this is like in 5 years. What are we watching? What are we consuming in 5 years? I have no clue for the first time in my career.
It's so funny you said that, because did you see what Jerry Seinfeld just said that?
Well, he said like movies are dead, right? Didn't he say like it's over?
No, Jerry Seinfeld just said this is the first time in show business that I have friends. He said that I have friends, meaning him, in this business that are like, what do we do next? This is the first time where like the money with acting is not really there. Like movies are there's because I think there's so many platforms, right? You got Netflix, you got Hulu, you got Apple, you got Prime, you got this one, you got that. Who knows what's coming next? So like there could be a good movie buried that none of us know. Where back in the day we all knew. I could be like in 2002, I could have been like, Jerry, did you see that so and so? And you're like, yeah, I saw it in theaters twice. And everybody knows it. And he said everybody used to quote lines from movies. Like now,
it's such a good point.
Now, dude, like I think like that the last run was like the Apatow, like Step Brothers, right? I don't know what year that was, but I'm just thinking like, yeah, all of those lines and things. Now, somebody, dude, you watching that show on? And I'm like, oh, which one? They're like, oh, it's on Hulu. It's this new show. And granted, sometimes I have time. Like I watched The Bear, which I thought was incredible. I don't know if you saw The Bear.
I'm not all the way caught up. I think I watched the first season. So I gotta do some catching up. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought it was great.
Yeah, like The Bear was something that it took me a second to really figure out what they were doing. And then I was like, oh man, this is like, I really like this. And I thought the acting was good. But like I needed to be told. Like you need to be guided now. Like, oh, you got to watch this movie. It's a sleeper. Trust me, not a lot of people know about it. And it's like, well, what? So it's tough, man. It is.
It's such a good point because you think hey, there's so many platforms now, which should equal so much opportunity, which it does. Maybe more things are getting made, right? At least in that sense, like network TV is not making as much. Streamers are making a good amount. That's all going to pull back because of the strike, in my opinion, right? It's all no one's going to make as much stuff as unions get paid more money. But yeah, it used to be, I mean, when's the last movie you saw? I'm a movie guy. I love going to the movies. I think the last movie I saw in theaters, I saw Barbie with my wife. We saw Top Gun. And, we could still say we're coming back from the COVID element. But yeah, it used to be a lot easier to hear about movies.
Yes.
Now I'm sure it's good for people who are like in the selling, like, hey, I sold the show. I got paid some money. Maybe it'll get made. Then it gets made and it's on freebie. And how do you get people to know that? That's what you're right. The pipeline of distribution, while you could say, hey, there's more opportunity than ever because there's more platforms that'll buy your shit, which is true.
Yeah.
How do you get people to watch? You're right. Used to be, you got to go see this movie. I could either see it in the movies or I could see it when it goes to the video. It's a Blockbuster, right?
Yeah.
Now I actually write down shows that I hear about. I have to write. Maybe it's because I'm an old ass man too. Be like, oh, Beef on Netflix. But you have to remind yourself. Like, I still haven't watched the show Beef on Netflix.
Me neither.
I've heard wonderful things. Yep. It's not because I don't want to watch it. I forget because it's like, oh, you got to watch Murders in the Building. You got to watch the OJ doc, which I just rewatched. Go rewatch the OJ doc.
I love that.
Holy
that was great.
Shit,
dude, that was great.
But it's a good thing. It means people are getting stuff made and selling it. But I definitely have show and movie ADD. Like I don't even watch movies anymore.
And you know what? It realized while people, this is what hit me, and you tell me if you agree with this. The reason why things are being remade, it's not because of, I used to be like, oh, it's lazy. It's not. It's because people remember that they loved that one.
Yes.
And that's what it is. It used to be like, oh, I don't want to see a remake of Ghostbusters. No, the reason why they're doing that is because it's like, oh my God, something that's in me that I saw it. So it'll get numbers too, because they want people to come back and go, remember. I think that's part of it.
I think it's, of course the movie has to be good and they have to market it well. Yeah. But again, the visibility is built in the title. You see Ghostbusters and most of this country knows what that is. Even if they haven't seen it and if they're 21 years old, they know what it is, right? But if you were going to go make Ghost Trappers, a brand new original story that's very close to Ghostbusters, but it's a new take, you got to go figure out a way to scream that from the mountaintop. And that's what's hard, as good as it is to do on social media and stuff. That's why I love comedy, because I know I could tell you from looking at a comedian's Instagram, like, oh, I gotta see this guy or this girl's show. Like by the one joke that is on there, that's a banger. It helps in that way. I think it's a lot tougher with movies and TV to really get that message out. You could give out a joke from your show without killing your show.
Right. No, absolutely. I could tease it. I could show a clean version of it. You know, you could see a couple of minutes of a special and then
Right.
go, oh, I got to go watch the whole thing. No, it's definitely true. Like the last original movie I saw that blew me away. I was performing in Cincinnati and I went to one of those theaters that had like recliners and it was insane. Was Jordan Peele's Get Out.
Yeah. That
And I was by
exactly.
myself, dude. I was by myself and I sat there and I just watched this original screenplay come to life. And I was just like, that is like, I didn't see it coming. I didn't understand what was going on to the very end. It was amazing. And then after that, it's like, yeah, I saw, oh no, and I loved Maverick. I thought Maverick brought me back.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I went to my daughter when they wanted to see, Barbie and all that stuff. So, but yeah, man, it's there's so much out there, so it's got to be so good, and like that's why, let me ask you this question: do you think? I think it would be, but I don't know if you get would Sopranos and Entourage get the same eyeballs now? And
It's a
because
really good question.
both shows are incredible. Sopranos, Entourage, those were shows that like, oh, Entourage is coming on tonight. I'm having people over watching it. Sopranos coming up tonight. Now I feel like it's like, which one is that? So I think it's better that you guys had it the way you did.
Yeah, those are pre-social media shows. I actually remember being on set and my character, for the Philly fans, totally yelling at me on Twitter about my character's name.
Yeah.
I had the line like, "Hey, Vince, you have 3 million Twitter followers," and I had to go over to like a technical advisor to explain to me what Twitter was because it just came out the week before.
Are you serious?
It's like a week old, yeah, because we tried to stay on top of that shit. I don't know. It's tough because also Entourage and Sopranos are tough examples because now they're like time capsule shows, really, where the jokes of Entourage were so 2008, right? We're still making jokes about Britney Spears back then, but in a different way. Sopranos, I still think would play. So here's for me, and this comes off the writer's room thing with all the writing I do, which again, I'm not some big shot writer who's selling shit left and right. I'm not. But the hurdles I see to write something present day is hard because every bit of conflict, most of our conflict every day is solved by a phone.
Right.
Most of our conflict down, like, where's my wife? Here's our location. What are we eating tonight? Let's Postmates it. The Amazon, I got Amazon, Whole Foods is dropping off the gross. Like, there's no conflict because the phone solves all our conflict. So when you're writing a story that has conflict, you're like, fuck, man, how can we show that this guy's missing? That means his cell phone has to go away. And it's just tougher. I'm not trying to sound like I'm complaining. I'm not, but
no, that you actually just sparked an idea. Somebody needs to write a screenplay about if social media was just gone.
Everything I write is set in like the 90s. Because it's like, here's a great story. Virzi in 1998 gets lost at the Super Bowl and we can't find him. I could write that script because the Hangover doesn't really get made in modern day because it's just such a hard story to tell. That's
funny. My buddy Giannis, who's a comedian, funny comedian.
Yeah, I know Giannis. Yeah,
he's hilarious. He had a joke where he goes, he's hilarious. He had a joke that goes like, the phone, like, we've made everything so easy. Like, I want to eat, done. I want to, like, it comes to the door. Like, everything, life right now is so, like, yesterday, my daughter goes, Daddy, I want Chipotle. And I go, no, Mom's going to make, she goes, I just want Chipotle. She goes, just give me your phone. And I just gave her my phone and a fucking dude showed up to the house with Chipotle. And like a half hour later. And I was like, first of all, she's 11 and she knows that, like, how to do it.
As I'm sitting here complaining about arguing with Philly fans on Twitter, do you remember getting into a sports argument with your boy when you were younger? I'm telling you, Don Mattingly hit 314 in 87. It's like, no, wait. It'd take you 3 days to find out the answer. You'd have to ask someone's uncle who you didn't believe. You have to find a baseball card that had the year. Yep. And, again, I'm not trying. I sound like old man yelling, get off my lawn. But
listen, we're in our 40s.
Oh, fuck. It's happened for me.
Dude, you know what I'm doing? You're going to love this because I actually took something out of your playbook. I remember when we were meeting, somebody was like, a couple of our mutual friends said the same thing about you. Like, Jerry's just a family guy, likes to be home.
Yeah.
And dude, I love being home. You know what I'm doing now? at like 9 or 8, I'm like a cup of coffee with a little something sweet like a cake. Dude, I'm turning into an old fucking dude, stirring my coffee, sitting in the
Got
house.
your Entenmann's cake.
Oh, dude, if you give me a fucking pound cake and a cup of coffee at night, I'm going nowhere. I'm embracing getting old, except obviously I have a herniated disc in my back, which I might need surgery. But other than that, I'm enjoying the slowdown. It's making me a better comedian. I'm enjoying it, dude.
Yeah, it is great, and especially since you have kids and like keeping up with the kids is great. But yeah, that was always me a little bit. I definitely had a great run in LA for sure. I had a lot of fun. I was a kid. I mean, I was 23 when Entourage started, right?
Wow.
So it's the 30 and this July is 20 years since the first episode aired. 20
What?
years. Yeah. The first episode aired 20 years ago at the end of July. I remember where I was when that shit aired. I was sitting in my house, my apartment in Studio City, terrified, thinking like, are they going to cancel this show halfway through? Do I got to go back to Boston Market and beg for my job back? Because there's no way I'm not that lucky that this show is going to be good. It's going to get canceled. Something's going to fuck it up. So, I just have always been like, I always knew when to go home. I'll put it that way.
Yeah,
always know when to go home.
Oh, that's a great. All right, so we got a couple of minutes left. The great Jerry Ferrara is on the show. I love it. What do you think? What are the predictions of the Knicks series? What do you think? What do you think? Knicks in what? What do you think's going to happen in Philly? What's the Jerry verdict here?
Taking injuries out, saying like Embiid plays the way he's been playing, and Embiid doesn't. No
Embiid's
one gets.
Embiid's playing the way he's playing this series.
I think it might be. I'd say Knicks in 6 or 7. I'm not as bullish as everybody's like Knicks in 5. I think I'm not saying we're going to lose Game 3. I think if the Knicks win Game 3, then it might be a wrap, because this is the game for Philly. You're going home. You had a bitter ending. The crowd's going to be crazy. Who knows if I'm not saying the refs are going to help you, but I don't think they're going to hurt you again.
Yep.
So I think Game 3, if the Knicks win Game 3, I would be fucking floored. But I'd say Knicks in 6.
Do you? So yeah,
or
so
7.
You think the Knicks win the series though? Based
yeah,
on
yes. Yes, and even if I didn't think they would, I probably wouldn't publicly say Philly would, but I haven't seen anything to let me believe. But again, I'm not ready to be like, oh, it's easy, sweep them, get them out of here. Like,
no.
I also don't think the team thinks like that. I don't think the team is like, we're going to sweep these guys and we're on the Indy or Milwaukee. I think that team is thinking nothing but Game 3. Like Game 3, hostile environment. How do we win Game 3? That's all they're thinking.
Hostile environment the next 2 games for sure. It's gonna be a fight.
Would you go if I called you? I'm like, Virzi, I got court sides in Philly. I'm in Westchester. I'm in the whip now. I'm gonna scoop you up. Hey, I got a third. Bring the kid if you want. Are you coming with me? Or are you saying, you know what, I'm busy. I got a pound cake in the fridge.
My wife just put on a fresh pot. I'm going with you, dude. I'll roll with you for sure.
I'm nervous. I'm nervous. By the way, I'm nervous even thinking. I got nervous even thinking about that. That shit is gonna be hostile.
Yeah, that got me nervous too. But if you hit me up, I'll be like, yeah, let's go. My son is like, Dad, let's go. I'm like, I don't think you really want to do that. But yeah, no, I would go with you.
I am laughing though. This is no disrespect. I know how amazing that building is and how loud it's gonna be. I hate the corporate names of buildings. It does not intimidate me to be like, wait till we get back to Wells Fargo.
It's funny. I have a story about that. I always talk about the set of my life. The set of my life I had was at the Garden with Burr and Barton. It was the set of my life. But I will say, Wells Fargo in Philly, I'm on stage in front of 10,000. It was like we were at like half court, 10,000 people. And I'm in the middle of a bit. And in the middle of the bit, I wasn't even done yet. And they gave me an ovation before I finished. And then I finished and they gave me another one. And it was one of the greatest experiences I had in Philly. And Philly fans do come out. And as much as people say, I remember I had Fred McGriff. I had Fred McGriff on the Virzi Effect.
The crime dog.
And he was telling me, he's like, man, Philly fans are. But there's a passion there. Yes. There's a passion and such a caring. I performed in Philly during the Phillies in the NLCS last year. And the numbers were all right, but it was a little, some people were like, I got messages going, Virzi, I love you, dude, but the Phillies are playing.
Of course.
I get it. So listen, this is going to be a dogfight between the fans on Twitter, on socials, the players. It's amazing. But just to have the Knicks back, the fact that me and you get to get on a podcast and talk about us in the playoffs, man, this is what we waited for since the 90s, dude.
So I think I'll be back in New York in 2 weeks. I don't know how it's going to time out with it. Either way, let's go smoke a cigar like the old days. And my last thing for you, I gave you that Philly scenario. Here's another question for you.
Yeah.
Okay. It's Knicks Nuggets finals. Game 7. Well, no, it can't be. Let's go Knicks Wolves. I think the Knicks have a better record than the Wolves. Game 7 is being played. Yeah. You have a show. You have an 8:00 show that is sold out. What are you doing?
Oh my God.
What are you doing? You can't cancel, but how? I mean, you are going to be in another universe. Like, how do you handle that situation?
All right. I have a show in New York. It's sold out. Everybody bought tickets, and the Knicks are in Game 7 of the
Game
finals.
7 in the 7:45 tip off. You're on stage at 8.
I'm on stage from 8 to 9. 7. All right. So here's what happens. The green room, the venue has to have me set up with it on the whole time. And then I have to have somebody at the side of the stage just going like I'll say to them, give me a thumbs up after the first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, and I'll know where we stand. And then I run right off stage.
And then you just lock in.
And I just lock in, probably, hopefully, with like the fourth quarter left. I went to the stand the other night, and it was game 1. And I called up the owner of the club, of the stand, and I go, guys, it needs to be on the green room. And they go, no. And I walked in, and it was on. And I'm watching. We win at the buzzer goes off. I got announced on stage a minute later, and then I had the best set ever because I was
going to say you came out real happy on that.
I told the crowd too. I said if they lost, this would have been a whole different set, But yeah, man, I love them so much, and I want it so bad, dude. But you got to hit me up when you get back.
For sure, I'll be back. First week of May for a couple of days. So if nothing else, whether we go to a game or whatever's going on, or at the very least we smoke a cigar.
Yeah. Maybe play golf. Who knows?
Even better. Yeah, you can bring your kid. Let him outdrive me by 40 yards.
That's all. Guys, Jerry Ferrara, I want to thank my guest. Check out Power. Check out Entourage. You probably already did. He's the best. Check me out, guys. I'll be at the Netflix is a Joke Comedy Festival May 10th at the Troubadour in Hollywood. The 11th, I'm at the Red Clay Comedy Festival. I'm doing a live Bone to Pick with Bobby Kelly. My new date, June 8th, Gramercy Theater, New York City. Jared, if you got friends in New York, tell them. Gramercy Theater, June 8th. I'm bringing the new hour, and we got Seattle coming up in July, Portland coming up. We have Tampa. We have Rhode Island. Go to paulvirzi.com. Check out the special Nocturnal Admissions, and I will see you next week. See you guys next week. Jerry, thank you so much for being here, bud. Go Knicks.
Go Knicks.